It takes a long time to decide what piece of material you're going to turn into a movie as a director, for me. Because you read it and then you connect with it, then you have to connect, then you have to look and see does it make sense as a movie. It may be great reading material, but doesn't necessarily translate on the big screen. So with this piece of material, I read it and I connected right away. It had all the elements for me. You know, conspiracy, government corruption, action, Mark.
I just thought for me, at this stage of my career, I'm looking for something that's really about the character. It's all about the characters that I'm getting to play now. For a long time, I made choices based on the filmmaker and not necessarily the role or the script. And now I'm just being a little more selfish and want to do things that I would want to go and see, and things that I think people want to see me in.
A lot of the PC things that have occurred in filmmaking and in literature, I think, have, and in our society, have sort of dulled that character. And Bob Lee Swagger is that man. You know, it's why I think of John Wayne. I think of some of the classic Western characters when I think of this guy. When we say sniper in this movie, it's not like anything I've seen before, anyhow. You have to understand how long a shot really is. What we've always imagined is a fairly, not that far, you know, it's a fairly small sort of scope, and there they are right there. When you actually see the location of where one of the shots will take place to where it's going to hit, you can't even see it with your eye. So that takes on a whole different level of technique and skill and threat.
When I got involved with the script, me and Mark Wahlberg went to a sniper school with a guy named Garrity, who is a real Marine sniper.
And in addition to the obvious things, how to shoot, how to aim, how to hold the gun, how to clean the gun, the mechanics of what we were able to teach Mark. Patrick even worked in Mark in standing still, standing like a Marine, walking like a Marine, dropping into what Patrick would see as comfortable, and Mark thought, I'm standing straight up. It's like, you know, that's how you stand when you're not doing anything. There's a sense of honor, even, that you can instill in somebody by just telling them about the events you've been through.
He does an excellent job because he picks up everything extremely fast. As far as the marksmanship and the weapons manipulation, just put him on a static range, on a known distance range, and we had him just blow through a few rounds first before I even taught him anything. And then I taught him different positions, how to manipulate the scope, how to judge the wind, you know, and then I started talking to him about marksmanship and accuracy, and that was pretty much the end of the first day.
These are your headshots. Perfect, perfect, a little bit right. Nice job on this target. This was your first shot, this was your second, and this was your third, you know.
That looks great.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I don't have too many shooters that can do that on their 6th hour of training, you know.
The second day, it got a little bit more intense. We did a lot more training. I took him to an unknown distance range where we just have targets scattered out there in the middle of the desert. And you're sitting up on a we call it Sniper's Point, at the top of a canyon, and started him at the close targets, and he's hitting everything all the way out to about 700 yards. And finally, we walked out to 900 yards, and I think he missed the first one, and after the first miss, made contact on the next one, same thing out at 1,100 yards. And I was pretty excited that I could get somebody in 2 days to be able to hit at an 1,100-yard man-sized target. And he got on the phone and started calling all of his friends. You know, you won't believe what I just did. I just shot something 1,000 yards away.
It all comes to play when Mark's laying there, and there's a shot early on in the movie where Mark is shooting at 1,700 yards. And one of the things I really enjoy is, and I hope people who know the business will enjoy, everything that's laid out in front of him is correct. He's got a notebook in front of him with every shot that's ever been taken with that rifle. He's got the correct reticle on that rifle. He's got a ballistic computer. He's got the correct spotting scope. And when he lays there, he looks right. And that took a lot of time to get to.
I'm not an accurate sniper, but I learned a little bit about it. What's very interesting is a bullet literally will fall between 30 and 40 feet just because of the range. So when it's shot in an arc. not as we always imagine it straight. So that arc is calibrated to figure out how long it's going to fall, how much the wind is going to move it back and forth, how much the curvature of the earth is going to play into it, which is a really sort of mind-bending concept, and any other factor that could play into it, humidity, wind.
Some of these rounds do a lot more damage than they are portrayed in movies. You know, for example, the Archbishop assassination scene. From the distance that that round's coming from, the trajectory of the round would almost come straight down on top of his head. The arc that it has to take from that distance. You know, from 1,000 yards, it's a little bit less. From 1850, you're lobbing around out there, and it's going to come straight down on top of the head. So we do a really cool head gag and see how that works. A lot of blood spraying out. I don't really mind some of the inaccuracies because I understand the reasons behind why you have to do it this way or you can't do it that way. My job is just to make sure that, you know, he's walking, talking, and acting like a Marine Scout sniper.
You killed all three? There were four. Slow, smooth, smooth is fast. Let's see it.
We have this mantra that we use for the movie, where it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Because in the middle of a firefight, or live ammo and rounds being shot around you, people trying to kill you, you know, you see a lot of people are fidgeting with guns and everything like that, trying to reload the weapon. Really being smooth and safety first, always going back to your training. They don't drill it into your head for no reason.
One of the things I learned is that it's important to break up your silhouette, it's important to break up the shine, and it's important to break up the shape of the human body. And throughout the years, the ghillie suit has been invented, which you'll see twice in the movie, once with Mark dressed in green, and once in an Arctic camouflage ghillie suit.
What was kind of cool, I mean, on the one hand, you know, we had asked our sniper, Patrick, all right, what would you do in this situation? How would you hide? So he actually built the ghillie suit on the set. So we got to watch its entire construction, and when you put it on, it's sort of goofy because it looks a little bit like the Abominable Snowman or something. So at first you're sort of like, well, that's sort of goofy, and then you go, well, that's sort of logical, and then you see how effective that kind of cover can be.
This is an example of one of our ghillie suits we're using in the movie. It's the Arctic version of our ghillie suit. They've incorporated the camouflage techniques of the Vietnamese in Vietnam, tying natural vegetation into it or breaking up the outline with materials, as well as where the term ghillie came from, which is from Scotland, and the game hunters used to tie burlap sacks to themselves to break up their outline. This is an example of a desert ghillie suit. The colors are a lot lighter, more tan, sand, and dyed dead weed type color. There's not a lot of vegetation in the desert, but you can find spots where there's vegetation. The main thing that these ghillie suits are doing is you never see a perfectly straight line or a perfectly curved line out in nature. So when you see a perfectly curved line, you think it's a helmet, or a perfectly straight line would be something along the lines of an antenna off of a radio. So when you see somebody wearing a helmet, you can pick them out pretty easily amongst all the irregular shapes and lines in nature. So that's what this ghillie suit does, is it breaks up the outline.
Well, my approach always with action scenes is how do I make it real? As close to reality as possible. So I do a lot of homework. My process is to talk to the military guys. The things they know about killing people or blowing something up is fascinating.
You know, maybe offset a little bit, and then get as far back, at least right where it starts coming down. Yeah. Have him take a knee, like right around here. Yeah. He wants to take a couple shots, and then slide down from there.
Yeah.
Okay?